TGIF Warriors. How's everyone doing today? So let's start off with the euro. Yesterday, Alex showed a 5-wave decline. So the expectation was for a bounce in euro. Brooke bought it down there. So we got this counter trend move. Thought we could head up towards excuse me, that's Canada. Towards 113.20, didn't quite get there. Maybe it still will. But look, all it's done is move sideways, and look how overbought it got just from a 70 pip advance. And on Fridays, we have to look at the weekly, right? Weekly, I believe, is a very negative week. Closed, took out the 2-week off number. There's a lot of support, confluence around this 111.20 level. But a pretty negative week in the euro here. Maybe this is all of it. And now we're finally going to get a resolution to the downside. Of course, everyone's going to look at this 108 area. Kudos to Canadian people who bought it down here. Rick was one of them. I think Rick's having some power issues in Argentina. Saw a tweet from him. Got some tweets from Praise. Yen selling off again. Actually got to Goldie's target. So a lot of spot on forecasts, calls, charts, trades in LAR again this week. No surprise to me. How about you guys? Good morning, Ibby, Pipper, Roland, Alexandros, Sugi, JM, F. Fundo, Sinatra, Jake, Praise, R, Abel. So, hi, Luca. So, a lot of great ideas, charts, trades, again this week in our community. Congratulations, Larians. Nice work again this week. Have the S&Ps coming off a little bit, got through that 2085 level. That may have completed an ending diagonal according to some waivers. Everyone doing okay? I have an interview with Ron Meisels. He's from Phases Cycles Incorporated out of Canada. Okay, so maybe we get one more shot up. Hello, Abel. So maybe we get to that 1320 area. It's kind of an ugly candle. Let's see. This would be where I would think it would go to this previous low here. Let's look at some fibs. This was the high of the week. We saw the selling pressure up here. Alexandros identified this as a 5-wave decline to this low. And so far, we haven't even retraced 38%. Hi, Mario. Welcome back. Hello, Abel, my good friend. How are you? Here's a look from Alex to get us going. So the cloud comes in up here, 1340. Okay, that's halfway back. So Alex is looking for maybe a 50% retrace of this. Back in here, Alex, 1345, 1350. That's right here is 50% back at your yellow line. Everyone thank Alexandros for his view of Euro USD. Hello, Brooke. Brooke is long the end on this sell-off. Held right where it had to, huh? Okay. Don't fade Brooke. Don't fade Alex. Brooke is long, stops under the channel, looks like at about 75 or so. 23 pip stop. Thank you for all of your contributions this week, Alexandros and Brooke. You guys help make the community great. Okay. Everyone thank our contributors. Thank you, Alex. Brooke. Say please and thank you in here. Let me show Alex's Kiwi. Looks like an ascending triangle to me, Alex. It's actually kind of bullish. We could pull back, but this kind of has an ascending triangle look to it. Would have a big upside objective closing above here, in my view. Thank you, Alexandros. And here's something else from Brooke, waiting for it to come out of consolidation. Euro USD. And maybe we rally back to 1360. And here's your consolidation right here. We get through 2890. Thank you, guys. Again, thank Alex and Brooke for their technical work they're sharing with us. Here's a look from Luca, CAD Yen. Don't fade Luca. There's some great traders in here. Really good traders in here. Good hunting on this one, buddy. That'd be a nice trade. You're looking at potential of 300 pips. Thank you, Luca. So everyone thank Brooke, Alex, and Luca. Oh, I got rid of the Tico page. Hold on. Jake's got a look. Pound CAD. Tail that wags the dogs. Look by Jake. Stop and reverse. Major fib. Nice technical work, Jake. Everyone thank Jake. Here's another one from Alex. Luca's cleaning up today with his bearish bias in the end. There's Alex back in the cloud. Nice touch up here. Thank you, Warriors. So on a quiet Friday, I'm getting deluge. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Luca. Thank you again, Alex. So, guys, tell me what was the highlight of your week? What was the highlight of your week here, guys? Felt like a long week to me. A long week. You need a song? No, it will not be a quiet Monday with Doha. Remember, this was, hey, Dion, remember this was Norm's turning point in here. Yeah, that was nice, Brooke. That was a big trade. So I was just guessing like I always do, and so far the gold does look like a head and shoulders top. I had someone on Twitter say, don't get too confident about that we could go the neckline and take off again. But this, I pointed out here in LAR, the symmetry of price on the left shoulder in gold, almost to the dollar on the right shoulder in gold. Midas wants a song. All right. How about the LAR? Ali called the pullback in crude. So, okay. So you want to be a star? You ought to show your charts in LAR. You ride a bicycle, but rather have a car. Hang out with us in LAR. Live at home with mom, but you want to buy a house. Should have been with us this week before you clicked your mouse. Give me an LAR, LAR, love and respect for traders who show their work, who do it from the goodness of their heart every single day. They don't have to, not without pay, but they give it away. We got the spirit of giving, which makes life worth living. So give me an LAR, LAR, rar, 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 rar. There you go, Midas. There you go, buddy. The LAR theme, the LAR theme song. What do you got, Luca? Price and momentum. I'm guessing it's stock indexes. No? Oh, I see. The pound. Okay. Luca's look at the pound. This was a divergence, but this wasn't, because it was a higher low. But yeah, you're showing these touches here. Thank you, Luca. I want to thank Luca for his cable view. Thank you, Luca. Yeah, I saw a nice tweet by FX Praise. Why don't you show your Aussie chart that you tweeted to me, Praise? So Praise is leaning towards the bearish side on Aussie. tweeted me a nice chart on Aussie. You want to share it? So how you doing, Dion, Ali, Midas, Pipper, Jake, Mario, PR Trading? Must like what's going on here. Ibby's back. M Fundo's back. JM, Sugi, Javier is a new handle. Everyone welcome Javier to our community. Welcome Javier. I see a handle R. I'm not sure if R has been here before. Welcome R. Everyone doing okay? Hi Fab, how are you? How come I don't see your name up there, Fab? I would have said hello to you. Yeah. Well, we have LAR confluence. So look at Alex's chart here. And why is that, Deanna? From hanging out here? Here's Alexandros. This looks like a 3 driver to me, Alex. That's pretty classic. 1, 2, 3. Take a picture. You need a negative close. And here's Praise's chart that Praise sent me. On Twitter. Same kind of view. If it takes out your uptrend, we could go to 74 or so. And this is even a bigger 3 driver, 1, 2, 3 here as well. So I would say that LAR is looking for shorts in Aussie, whether it's today or next week. Aussie looking vulnerable. So we're going to stalk Aussie for shorts going into next week. In my extremely accurate and humble opinion, it's a compilation of the community's views here. Thank you, Praise and Alex. Oh, well, then that's mission accomplished. Also 5 waves up, so we should get a 2. Maybe this whole thing was a 1. So thank you, Alex. Praise. Here's Midas. So here's some supply demand confluence with channel lines and everything for Midas on pound Swiss. Here's a supply zone. Here's a channel line. Nice, Midas. I know there are a few that trade this pair. Everyone thank Midas for this look. Daily, pound Swiss, old support, new resistance, supply zone, trend line. Thank you, Midas. Hi, Tosin. How are you? FX Praise, I think, showed the same thing as you did. Yeah, so here's some more LAR confluence between Praise and Midas on pound Swiss. So far we have a bearish view in LAR of Aussie and a bearish view on pound Swiss between Midas and Praise. Lots of LAR confluence today. Don't fade LAR. That's all I could say. When one or more Larians, effective traders, have the same view using different methods, calling for the same outcome, do not fade it. If you do, fade it at your own peril. Hey, Carlos, long time, buddy. How are you? Carlos, you haven't heard this new song, buddy. You've been away for a while. So this is for you, Carlos. You haven't heard this song. I'm going to play it for you because I think sometimes when people go away, if they're not on vacation, it's because maybe they've had a drawdown and they're taking a break. So all I could say to you, Carlos, is this. It ain't nothing but a drawdown or a margin call. It ain't nothing but a drawdown and a margin call. But don't be scared, cause you're still real right to call. Never said I was perfect, that would be a lie. Never said I was perfect, cause that would be a lie. But we're more right than wrong, and we can look you in the eye. Watch LAR fly, ain't nothing but a drawdown and a margin call. Ain't nothing but a drawdown and a margin call. But don't worry about it, cause you're still right. The call. It's for you, brother Carlos. Oh, Jax, I've missed you. That was inspired by Midas. Ain't nothing but a drawdown was Midas's idea, so you blame him. You blame him, Jax. Okay. All right, what do you want me to look at, Brooke? Let's see. So what are you saying? I don't know. There's no RSI on here. Is there? Well, here's the RSI. There really wasn't divergence here compared to, I can't tell which is the RSI, the red or the blue line. The blue? I don't know, bro. Sometimes on the third, you get a fractal, you'll get 3 for the third. So maybe this is just one of 3. You're blue? Oh, the blue? Okay. I'm not sure. Here's the yen from Praise. Praise is looking for new lows in the yen after it broke down here. Maybe we're going to 105 now. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Praise. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Praise. Thank you, Lord. Oh, all you see is my head. Oh, okay. Sorry. You don't want to see my head. I forgot to screen share again. Okay, well, you guys had access to that, those screenshots. Carlos has a look. Carlos is Skyping me some stuff here. This is the Aussie Monthly. Thank you, Carlos. And the second one is Aussie CAD, 1 hour. This might be the bottom, but we're due, maybe this is just the first wave up, and we're due for a pullback like with gold. And this chart is Aussie CAD, 1 hour from Carlos. Looks like we have two drives here. 1, 2, diverged. Maybe we pull back and get one more and then travel into your supply zone one more time, Carlos. Everyone thank Carlos for his monthly look at Aussie and his hourly look at Aussie CAD. Thank you, Carlos. And here's the Aussie yen. So if we get the Aussie to peak, this Aussie yen should accelerate pretty good. Craze has it, tweeted this to me as well. At least correct this advance back to 82-ish. Thank you, Praise. Yeah, you like using, Dion likes using the royalty metaphors. Don't you, Dion? His Royal Highness King Dollar and Save the Queen and all that stuff, right? Oh, we have some confluence on Aussie yen between Brook and Praise. Get short Aussie yen on any pop. Going back to 82. There's Brook. 82.50. Another LAR confluence. So we have LAR confluence in Aussie USD. We have LAR confluence in Pound Swiss and in Aussie yen today. Thank you, guys. Oh. Oh yeah, I don't. I trade in my underwear. Underwear, Jake. Yeah. Carlos has another one. EuroCAD weekly from Carlos. There you go. Down to a neckline and then maybe a right shoulder. Aussie CAD weekly from Carlos. So we're almost there for a buy and then a nice pop. That'd be a big trade. Back to 155. Everyone thank Carlos for the EuroCAD weekly. EuroCAD. Okay. Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, Jake, I don't know. I'm thinking of taking the summer off, guys. What do you think? Let's see. Luca, Ray, Jake, Sugi is back. Hi, Sugi. Hope LAR's adding value to your trading experience here at FX Street. Planet's in the house. How are you, Planet? Ali. Arvid's back. Hello, Arvid. Babs here. There's a new handle, P&M. Welcome, P&M. Everyone, welcome, P&M. Unlike PMS, P&M. Welcome to our community, buddy. Another look at EuroCAD from Carlos. Thank you, Carlos. Not from trading. Not from trading, Dean. Carlos, Midas wants to look at your EuroCAD chart again. I could look for it. Let me look for it. Here it is. Midas. EuroCAD weekly. Is that what you wanted? Was that what you wanted? See if you had any other EuroCAD. That's it. That's the EuroCAD chart. Hope I'm right about what? What's blue? I can't tell. The grid is, this is 45 and this is 40. So it looks like he's calling for a retest of the low that we had in November. So it looks like he has it coming back down towards the November 7th low. Does that help? Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome, man. I think I do too. Yeah. Thank you, Dean. Everyone doing okay? Nice little group here today, 30 of us that I can see. I hope this interview comes off with Ron Meisel. He's been around a long time. In 1995, he called for a 10,000 Dow when it was trading at 3,800. It'll be interesting. He looks at 40-year cycles. So I hope we get Ron in here and that he is able to navigate Hangout. It's not frequently that I have a guest that's been in the business longer than me. So he's been in it since 1970, and I was a junior in high school when he got into the business. So Ron will make me feel young. Thank you, Brooke. Took a long looking at 110 for Planet. One more shot up. Thank you, Planet. So we have a little divergence on yen views between Planet and Praise, the two Ps. That's what makes a market. They're both good. They both could be right, getting out at different times. They both could be wrong. It's all how they manage the trade. Everyone thank Planet. Thank you, Planet, my trading warrior brother, pioneer. Thank you, buddy. Those were the good old days, buddy. Sorry you weren't around for that, Dion. That's when music was great. 1970, great time to be young, buddy. No regrets here. Everyone doing okay? Think I'll take a break. 5-minute break from trading. You think I could do it, Dion? You think I could lay off the markets for 5 minutes? What do you think, buddy? So you're not so young anymore, Dion. You were alive then. You're 42, in the prime of your life. A lion with a whole lair. 42-year-old stud. All right, let's see if I could. I'll leave my mouse here. Let's see if I could lay off the markets for 5 minutes. I did a break time. $47. Okay. So I'm not a good mathematician. So that proves you don't have to be a great mathematician to trade. I couldn't even add it up. My wife asked me, "Do you have to be good at math to trade?" I said no. If you could count to 3, you're okay. if you could add and subtract. Hello, Adinda. I need to take a break. Adinda, calling Adinda. Okay, there we are. See you guys in 5. I'm going to try not to Jones too bad. Going to try not to trade for the next 5 minutes. Who thinks I could do it? Abel. Abel, you think I could do it, not trade for 5 minutes? Be back in a little bit, guys. Thank you, everyone, for your great contributions again today. You Larians amaze me because you're amazing. Be back. Okay, I did it. I didn't trade. Good call by Alex. Euro's coming out of the hole here. Nice call by Alex. Thank you, Ali. Group is long side of Euro Aussie. Everyone congratulate Alexandros on looking for the Euro to rally. Group's taking a shot on the Euro Aussie here. Probably a good shot. FX Praise has a look. Euro Swiss to 110. Thank you, Brook. Thank you, Praise. Thank you, God. Sell the Euro at 13.5. That's halfway back. How are you, Peg? Crude rolling over. Decadic sold the top in crude this week. If you're here, Khalid, nice shot. Guppy, 150 coming. Thank you, Praise. Thank you, Brook. Euro USD. Thank you, guys. Euro USD 29.5, Dion. I don't think you mean Euro USD. This is Norm Linsky's zone, Luca, time-wise. Okay, thank you, Deanna. I thought so. So Rick was real happy about pound kiwi rallying. Rick called this yesterday. I know, Abel. So Ricardo called this low yesterday. So he nailed the low in this pound kiwi. Ricardo Picasso. So guys, if you know anyone who'd be interested in my skill set to do webinars or something like that, let me know. To mentor. Haven't had a sponsor since February. I'm not a millionaire, so I need revenue besides my own trading. Yeah, I'm looking for 1930. My off number, Tosin. That means we'll have a pretty negative 2-week period coming up into the end of the month. And then maybe 2250. So spread the word. I'm looking for a gig. They were, yes. They still are on FX Street, but not for LAR, is what I'm told. Yeah, that's what I think could happen. That's what because they have to clean out don't they have to clean out all the bears over 2130? Yeah. 2235 is Peter Goodburn's target. Peter Goodburn, remember? He was real right about the gold, real right about oil shares, right and wrong on currency. So there are a lot of people talking 2200. So if we peak here, that's 280. I guess it is. Anyway, guys, any leads would be appreciated. That's all I could say. What's 2170? What's 217? Here's my email if you have any ideas for me. Okay. Because maybe I could still do this and do something else too. Okay, got it. It's Skype ID. Midas is trying to get me a big account to trade. Maybe I'll do that. That's my Skype, Brooke. I don't think FX Street would mind me asking the community, since you are my so-called network too, and you guys are out there in the FX world. You guys know my skill set more than anybody. Yeah. Well, Peter Goodburn says 2235, Dion, then 1690, and then 2900. Thank you, Brooke. I've been through this before. Maybe I'll win the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah. So I think Peter Goodburn's, Nostra Goodburn's call could be pretty good. So basically what he's saying, the theme for how we get to 2,900, okay, Brooke, is that he's never seen a bear market in equities with a bull market in, well, Alexandros told you that a half an hour ago. I'm not surprised. Alex is excellent. If you agree with me that Alexandros' work is excellent, he was calling it a 1275. Give me a Y. A Y for agreeing on the excellence of Alexandros, his work. There's my Y. I have much respect for Alexandros. So anyway, Peter's thesis is based upon he's never seen a secular bear market in equities with a bull market in commodities happen at the same time. So what's really going to lead it, what could really lead it, thank you, Alex, what could really lead it is commodities to 2,900. You know, he's looking for $2,000 gold. So commodities, and then eventually a bear market in the dollar. I still think there's one more high coming in the dollar, maybe not from here. 108.80 going to give way. Okay, Lucas call. So you guys, give me a Y if you understand why Peter Goodburn thinks we could get to 2,900, because he's never seen a secular bear in equities with a bull market in commodities. That's his thesis. Give me a Y if you get it. Alexandros gets it. Anyone else get it? So write these numbers down. I'll go with Tolson's 1950 to 1930, then 22. Peter Goodburn's looking for 2235 Midas. First, I think we go to 1950, then the 2200 mark, then down to 1690 S&P, and then 2900 S&P. And his thesis for an ongoing bull market in equities is he's never seen a secular bear market in equities while you have a bull market going in commodities. So commodities will be the superstar of the equity rally down the road. And we've already seen signs of it. No sector has outperformed the gold sector in the first quarter. It's the strongest sector out there. Huge recovery in the oil sector. In fact, the materials are part of this big recovery we've had in the market. That we have an inflationary depression. I don't know after that. Let's just get there. But the kind of depression, everyone's looking for a deflationary depression, all the bears, right? Because that's what it was like in the 30s. But what we most likely have is the opposite. Germany had hyperinflation in the 30s. This time they'll have deflation. The US had deflation in the 30s. This time we'll have an inflationary depression. Yeah. So, Americans, their wages are going to fall and prices are going to go through the roof. America could be like Argentina was in the 90s. Yeah. And a crash in the dollar. But I still think the dollar, yeah, that the dollar, it's the opposite. It's alternation. Okay. It's alternation. Last go around, it was a huge deflation. Cash was king. This time, it's going to be a huge inflation where metals and commodities are king in the U.S. But I think we'd still have one more push up in the dollar. Yeah. I'm not sure if the Dixie's still going to travel one more time down to 92 or not. No, real estate won't work because we'll have an impaired credit system. Have a crash in the bond market. Impaired credit. You need credit for real estate to function. So we could have that type of scenario and real estate falls. Because there are no mortgages. Mortgage money dries up. Credit. Yeah. A lot of people talking that. 5,000, 3,000. So if we get that break in gold to 1130 to 1100, everyone should go out and buy some physical and put it away. That's just my guess, Mario. What do I know? Could be, Dan. I think I have Ron in the house here.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Ron. How are you? Can you just hold on a minute? I'll be right with you, and we'll start our interview.
No problem.
One moment. Very nice to meet you. I'll be right back.
Very good. That's what I show. Go to here. Go to Word. That's the picture I want to show. If no, here on here, so I don't see these lines. Here on here, just yeah. Okay, now that's what I want to show. That's the same. Oh, hit on it. See what happens. You can hit on it. Okay. All right. So.
Okay, Ron, here I am, ready to go. You know, I'm 62 years old, and I think I have an enlarged prostate, so I have to make one pit stop, buddy.
Well, I'm 81 years old, and I know what you think. I know how you.
Yeah. Good to talk to a super veteran like you, Ron. I was telling the community a bit about your background. In fact, we were talking about certain cycles that you know, I interview some of the best and do a lot of reading and have my own views of what's happening cyclically. And I read your bio that you're one of the top 3 in the Bretton Woods survey, and you're known for your 40-year cycle work. And one of your greatest calls was in 1995 when you were predicting 10K in the Dow when it was trading 3,800. You're quoted everywhere in Bloomberg, etc. So what a great time to have you, Ron, with us as the debate about where we stand cyclically in financial markets and economic cycles and where we're at. So why don't you just give me a view? I was talking about alternation. In the 30s, Germany had hyperinflation. The U.S. had deflation. And if we enter a period where there's some type of depression, that I think it's going to be alternation this time, where the U.S. could have an inflationary type depression. And with what's happening in the Eurozone, it could be deflationary there this time. Exactly the opposite of what happened in the 30s. What's your work saying about where we're at? We had the worst start in stock market history in January, and here we are just a whisper away from new highs in the market. Can you tell us what market thesis you're working with your 40-year cycle, etc.?
Well, to start with, just to bring you back up to date as to what happened in the last month or so, I just came back from New York, where I got an award from the MTA, which is the Market Technicians Association.
Okay.
And
congratulations.
Thank you very much. I was very proud of that because I'm already a lifetime honorary member of the Canadian Society of Technical Analysts, which I started myself and was first president of, but now having something from the New York Society, that was a real pleasure. Now, I'm not in too much. I'm really work on cycles, but work on stock cycles. So you brought up a very interesting question about the 30s and the inflation. And let me tell you, I was born in Hungary, and we went through a very similar inflation right after the war. So I'm very much aware of what it's like to have been in inflation. Right. But I believe that you are presenting and showing a very negative picture, which I don't quite agree with. If we look at the Dow, I don't know if you can see the screen. Do you see my screen now?
What you have to do is go up to the upper left-hand corner, Ron. There's a green box with an arrow, and you click that.
Okay.
And then and then click the desktop you want to show.
There it is. Do you see it?
Got it. Okay.
So we're looking at the Dow. And
right.
as far as the story of the Dow concerned, the years are not mentioned here. And I don't know if you see my arrow, but based on
Yeah, that
Based
was six. You know, that's when the S&P was 666, the
that
bottom
is
of the financial crisis, March 2009.
that is correct. That is correct. Now, based on my discovery of the 40-year periodicity in the market, the 40-year cycle or 40-year wave, whichever you want to call it, I believe that roughly about every 40 years, the market has a major secular bear. Something that happened in the late 1800s, something that happened in 1929, and the second leg in 1932, roughly. Same thing that happened in 1970, second leg was in 1974. And the one it happened in 2002, and the second leg was 2008. And this is the picture of the ending at 2008. Since at the beginning in 2009. At the
Right.
beginning in 2009, at March of 2009, which is where my cursor is, and I don't know if you could see it.
I see it.
We began a new secular bull market. That means
Okay.
that we have begun the first bull cycle, cyclical bull within this huge secular bull. And this breaks down, in my opinion, breaks down into one up leg, which ended roughly about here. We had a corrective period, almost like what the Elias people would call leg two. We had a huge leg three that ended in middle of last year. And
Right.
since then, we've been in a very wide horizontal correction, roughly in between below 16,000 and roughly above around 18,000.
Can I
And the
ask you how you know and how you assume that it's just a correction rather than distribution, because it's a pretty long time frame for consolidation, don't you agree?
Uh, yes, this time it is longer than what normally would expect, but at the same time, remember that this low here happened in the late 2011,
Yes.
and we had a huge like three. So therefore it is not surprise to have a very extended corrective period, which
Okay.
can happen in one of two ways, as you very well know, Dale.
In
Either in a
time or price?
time or price. And
Yeah.
so this, instead of having it in price, so it seems, we're having
Right.
it in time. So based on the length of the three, we're having a lengthy four.
Okay. Got it. And would that view be negated closing back under that 15.5 level? Or would
Well,
that just be more of an extended correction?
the first reaction is that I don't believe it's going to happen. The
Okay.
second reaction is that yes, it would, if it comes down again, it should stop around 16,000. But at the same time, based on the research and technical tools that I use, the market is more likely to break on the upside than to come back down to 16,000.
Okay, so maybe we get just some type of fib correction from this recent rally that we had, and then we blow through the highs. Do you have any upside targets? It looks to me like it would measure about 22,000 on a breakout. Does your work project not just time but price as well?
I use a very old method of point and figure charting.
Oh
This is
yes, yes, the X's and O's.
the X's and O's, and it's a system that actually was first devised by Mr. Dow himself,
Right.
and it's been bastardized by certain people who seem to think that multi-reversals work better than single reversals. I still use, based on the book that Dow wrote, and his students handed down to the gentleman whose name is Whalen, which is the system that I use, which is a 1-point reversal. That means in a stock means $1, 1 point. That's why it's called a point figure chart. And in
Okay.
case of a Dow, we use a 50-unit reversal. So based on that, when you do a measurement of this whole W formation here,
28,000.
no, for 21,000 for now
Okay.
at this stage. could be, we could go ahead, but at this stage, I particularly feel that 21,000 is our first target.
Okay.
And it also means that for the S&P, okay, I'm sorry, I can't go to the, well, I can
So
go
that would be what, 2,200 to 2,400 S&P?
2,500 on S&P, yes.
Okay. So basically, you could even do it arithmetically. You just take the recent range, and breakout of the recent range gives you a measured move to your point and figure targets too. So I have your view, and I can believe that something like this could happen. I think the interesting part of this is going to be, Ron, we've had this recent recovery in commodities, and they were really the source of problems during the last year, with the high yield market under pressure because of what happened to oil. Oil has recently bottomed. Gold was the best performer. Gold stocks the best performer of the first quarter. Could it be that the leadership for these long-term moves is going to be inflation hedges and commodities, which were neglected and under pressure since 2011, that they become the new leadership and it's not Facebook?
Historically, Lag 5 is mainly fueled by commodity type of stocks and commodity type of issues. This is why this time within the cycle, Canada and Australia should do well because of our commodity-oriented economy.
Yeah, so people could stop committing suicide in Alberta. That better times are ahead.
I think they should do that. Yes.
Okay, because they've been under a lot of pressure, and a lot of oil workers and everyone thrown out of a job. And I don't know how you felt, but when we were at $26 in February, the only chatter I saw was how low can crude go, rather than could it even rally. And there's still a debate out that we could have some type of retest. You being from Canada, and I correlate the Canadian dollar a lot with the oil price. What's your view on oil? Do you think the lows are in, and all we get is a little pullback after this recent advance, or could we have a full-blown retest in oil?
I think the low probably has been reached. Maybe a bit of a pullback would not be a disaster here, and that's the same thing goes for the Canadian dollar. A little bit of a pullback would not hurt, but given where we are in the economy, given where we are in the cycle, I believe that we could have a better picture for both the oil and the Canadian dollar.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting $120 for oil, or for $1.20 for the Canadian dollar as versus the U.S., but a slow, very, very slow recovery that will take a period of time.
A lot of people talking 85 as a possible count in crude.
I don't think it would be a major disagreement on my part.
Okay. And where do you stand on gold? We've had $250 rally. A lot of the mining shares have doubled and tripled in value, especially the juniors. To me, it looks like this was the first wave up, and that even if we have one more push above 1,300, there'll be, if you're patient, that there could be another entry down in the low 1,100 range. What's your take on gold? And you believe that this is the beginning of a huge bull market in gold that could exceed the 2011 highs of 1,900?
The gold has had a very, very obviously, we all know, a very definite and major down leg from about 1,800 or thereabouts recently from 2012, and we have broken trend lines. we had recovered. There is a resistance around 1300 to 1350, which need to be overcome. And at the same time, for the short term, we probably could use a minor correction back to, let's say, 1175 or thereabouts. But the cycle has turned in the gold, and eventually I look for higher prices.
Okay. Is your view on the rest of the world as sanguine? The U.S. Has been described as the cleanest shirt in a dirty neighborhood, showing the most showing the most relative strength globally, and it's showing up in the bourses with the Dow and S&P on the verge of new highs, while what's happening with the DAX and the FTSE and the Chinese market, and especially Japan as of late, is showing much more weakness. Is the U.S. still going to be the leader, or could even emerging markets, which were also under severe pressure because of the commodity collapse, begin to outperform the U.S.?
Well, I'll let you into a little secret. I have always believed that the UK market is a leader to the North American, to the US market.
You know what, me too. Yeah, I rarely talk to anyone who brings that up. I bring it up to people. I was schooled that way. You know, Ron, I'm 62, but I used to follow the FTSE, and it was always a leader to me. I would look at it, if the FTSE was making new highs and our markets were lagging, I would say it was foreshadowing what was going to happen here. So it's not a secret to me, but probably a secret to most people under the age of 40. So go ahead.
Yes. Those people under the age of 40 need a little bit of learning to get more history behind their belts.
Okay.
Anyway, the FTSE could be considered also on the verge of a breakout, and if that happens, that will be very bullish also for it and for the North American market. So it all ties in. Now, there's a lot of talk, Dale, about how the New York market cannot go higher. I just came back from a seminar where most of the speakers said, well, you know, the gold and the New York market never go hand in hand. If one goes up, the other must come down. And again, these were 25 to 30-year-old people who haven't had the experience that you and I had. It is quite possible for both the U.S. market and for gold to go higher together in sync. Yes, and so so if the FTSE breaks out here, which would be wonderful, and it would herald a beginning of it would support my concept that the New York market is ready to go into new all-time high territory.
Okay. Do you factor in when you look at FTSE, and do you have a view as to whether or not there'll be a Brexit?
I'm sorry. As I said, I don't go into this type of things. So
okay. So the market will factor it in, and perhaps the breakout is delayed into, maybe it's going to be a sell the rumor buy the fact type of thing. So, you know, it is a big story. A lot of people are worried about the UK leaving the Eurozone. The Brexit is the new wall of worry for the market.
Well, let the big guys decide on that.
Okay.
It's not
all right.
Not into my working procedure.
Do you have a view on the dollar? It's our view here, and my view, that currency is really the linchpin for everything else. The stock markets are dwarfed by bond markets, and bond markets are dwarfed by currency markets, and all the talk of currency wars and the race to debase to be competitive. I know it's fundamental. You're a technician. Do you have a technical view on the dollar?
Not really. Not really. As I said, we don't do commodities. And my comment about the Canadian dollar was mainly because I'm tied to it Never, like last week when I had to go to New York, I had to be very aware of how much the
Right.
trip cost me in Canadian dollars. Sorry, Dale, we don't.
That's okay. Why did they nickname the Canadian dollar the loonie?
Well, because the back of we used to have a Canadian dollar, paper dollar, and a paper
Right.
$2. We changed both the $1 and the $2 into coin,
Okay.
and the back of the coin is a loon,
All right.
bird, a loon. Yes. So
Because
it's very
I get a little loony trading it. In fact, I actually love trading the USD Canadian dollar. Let me
and
get. I know this has nothing to do with any
Dale,
market.
Dale, Dale. Before you get to any further, and do you know the name we use for the $2 coin?
No.
It's a toonie.
Okay. Well, I'm really having a good time talking to you today. And Ron, I'd like to ask you, what does the political silly season look like to Canadians when they're watching what's going on here in the U.S. with, this type of, low-level name-calling, the politics of right wing and left wing, when you guys have a pretty moderate leader in Trudeau, and down here in the States, you're either talking about socialism or fascism, depending upon whether it's Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. Does this concern Canadians with you guys being so close, the political scene that we have going on here in the U.S.?
We certainly are watching the the U.S. situation a bit closely. Obviously, it hasn't come to a culmination as yet. Personally, I think that Sanders is really such a socialist, and having come from a Hungary, but having born in Hungary, which at one point was a quasi-communist country, I'm very much aware of what socialism is all about. So I couldn't, if I was a U.S. person, I couldn't vote for him. As far as Trump is concerned, he's a sly person that does not show he's a poker player.
Yeah.
You ask him a question, he will never give you the right, and he will never give you the answer that you expect, because he wants to have a discussion with you and then bring out his ace and slam it on the table. So he's not telling. He's right now running to be popular, but if and when becomes a president, I'm sure that his tone will totally change.
Well, let
I'm
me
not.
ask you. Yeah, let me ask you this. Do you have an extra room in your house for me to leave the U.S. and come to Canada?
You're not the first one to ask, and unfortunately, I already had. I already had people bidding for our extra spare room. Yes.
Yes, during the Vietnam era, a lot of people that didn't want to go to Vietnam left and went to Canada. I think you're going to be looking at the second migration of U.S. citizens looking to go elsewhere because of the lack of confidence and of integrity of leadership here of our options. Most likely, it'll probably be Hillary, don't you think?
Well, before I go there, let me just tell you that there's a joke going around in Canada that if Trump doesn't build a wall between U.S. and Canada, then we may do that.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that the wall that he's building, wherever it is not to keep people out, but to keep us in working like cattle. What do
Well,
you
that's
think?
right. That's right. So, exactly. So he may build a wall to keep people in or get rid of people first. This wouldn't be the first time. I mean, I don't want to get too political here, but it's not the first time that the United States has got rid of some people. It happened almost as recently as near the Second World War, and
Right.
even before that. If I believe my history, I think there was a period of time way back in the 1800s where they were sending people back because of was not because people were taking jobs
Yeah,
away from the United
right.
States.
The Irish during,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it's not the
Yeah.
first time, but uh, the only one thing that I read the book, I read Trump's book, and the only thing I can tell you is that uh, this guy is a poker player. He's very, very smart, and he doesn't show his hand whatsoever. He does now. He talks and says what he believes will get him to the White House, and after that, he's going to probably say and do things fairly different than what he's suggesting now.
So, Ron, what's the best way for people to follow you? I know your Twitter handle is at Phases-Cycles Inc., and that's the name of your website. And what do you do? Do you publish a monthly newsletter and have subscribers? What's your business model?
We publish a market comment twice a month, usually a 4-pager talking about both the US and the Canadian and the UK market. And then during the month, we publish numerous stock reports. Some are buys, some are sells, some are just an update. And anybody would like to have our research, just send us an email, go to a website and sign on for a trial, or send us an email and say, I would like to see more of your research or a trial for receipts for a couple of recent publications, and we'll be delighted to do that.
Well, I'm delighted that you chose to join us today, Ron, and edify us and share your views. A great education. Congratulations on your MTI award in the U.S. Probably means much more to you since you started the Canadian Society. It's like something Donald Trump would do, is start his own society and then give himself the award. So congratulations on that acknowledgement and your work, and that you're still passionate about what's happening in the world, giving us an optimistic view. We have an optimistic view.
After all these years. Dale, it was a pleasure talking to you also. I would be delighted to talk to you anytime that you wish to. If we break above into new high in the Dow, that would be maybe another opportunity to then look at how far, whether the target is still the same as before, or we now have a higher target. And if we start to come down, I wouldn't be surprised of a minor correction, but it is amazing how strong the market is. And despite of, let me just say something. I get investors' intelligence statistics weekly. Right. This past Wednesday, just 2 days ago, the Investors' Intelligence Report, which historically publishes excerpts from different market letter writers and publishes excerpts from the bullish side people and from the neutral people and from the bearish people, there was not one person who expressed a bullish opinion on the market this week. Not one.
So you are a follower of sentiment, and there are nothing. Everyone's trying to short and top pick the market here. They might get some short-term relief. Maybe the Dow pulls back to, 17,000, 16,500, something like that. But people should be viewing any market pullback as a major buying opportunity, according to Ron Meisels at Phases-Cycles Inc.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ron. Well, have a great weekend. I now will call you my investing warrior brother.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure, and it was great talking to you, Dale, and I look forward to do it again.
It's a deal. Ron Meisels, community, live analysis room people, please thank Ron for his time and his views, a view from north of the U.S. and Canada, and now we know that Donald Trump is a poker player. Thank you again, Ron. Take it easy, my friend. Good hunting.
You're welcome. Anytime. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. You could just close out the hangout anytime. Did you guys enjoy Ron? Luca, everyone's thanking you, Ron.
Thank you very
Everyone
much.
Enjoyed you. Everyone doing okay? Euro's coming off a little bit, left a tail. Abel liked him, Dion liked him. What a gentleman, huh? Yeah. So that kind of goes with what we were talking about earlier before Ron's interview, that any pullback, like Tosin was saying, back to 1950 or so, you got to get long and watch the bears get squeezed, unless they just squeeze them from here, you know. So we'll see. So guys, it's Friday. Pound still looks heavy to me. Yen's holding 108.60. What do you think? Should we wrap it up? Okay, we could do that. Any other shares before I do a wrap up? Okay, then let's do it. So perhaps we get some more follow through up to 1350 early next week. That'll be kind of the test of this recent decline, 1348.50 to 1370 in Euro USD. The pound still looks kind of flat to me. I still think eventually the pound still is going to move back down towards my target of a 3 drive down towards 136. I know a lot of people are starting to say that perhaps this is a head and shoulders formation in the pound and we're going to break out to the upside. Keep in mind what Ron said about the FTSE. FTSE is going to be a major. Okay, it has to break this uptrend. I think this is what Sinatra is talking about right here. Just take it off this low. Oh, let me do it again. This low. So I believe that's what you're talking about, Sinatra. And that's not that far away. And then some people are calling this a head and shoulders bottom formation. Here's your neckline. This is for the dollar bears. Almost looks like a triangle to me. So 144 is important and 140 and a half is important. That's your look in the pound. So I want to thank everyone individually for all your contributions this week. Thank you, Abel. Thank you, Sinatra. Thank you, Dion, Luca, Brooke. Thank you. Adinda, thank you. Pipper, thank you. Ali, thank you for all your commentary on oil and gold. Tosin, thank you. Fab, thank you. Midas, love you, buddy. Thank you. Mario, nice to meet you. Alexandros, thank you. Planet, thank you. Ray, thank you. Ibby, thank you. PR Trading, welcome to our community. F Fondo, welcome to our community. Sugi, welcome to our community. Javier, welcome to our community. Arvid, always good to see you, brother. Jax, always good to make you cry. Roland, P&M, welcome to LAR. R, welcome to LAR. Mauricio's going to yell at me for closing early. FX Praise, thank you for all your shares. Here's a final look from Brooke on the oil market. Remember, we have Doha Sunday, so anything can happen. A lot of people are thinking that Doha is going to be a disappointment. Makes me think that maybe it won't be. So here's a couple of potential paths. Either way, it looks like buy the break in crude on Brooke's work. And why don't we wrap it up with a song? Should we wrap it up with a song, guys? Huh? Make Jax cry one more time. Thank you, Brooke. You're welcome, Ray. Thank you, Dion. Love me, Larians. Love me, Larians. Love me true. Stay inside the room. We'll show charts every day as the markets swoon. Love me, Larians, love me true. All your charts are great. And my trading warrior and brothers, I love you, and I always will. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Pips come and go. Time is gone forever. Make it count. L'chaim. To life, my friends. Adios.